Good Abend again, and thank you all so much for coming. Some of you saw the presentation last night, and hopefully you recovered. You look very well and rested. They told me this can go until 5 p.m. today. I did not know it would go so long, but because it can go so long, I'm going to offer you the maximum master class we have in the U.S. We have it usually for 2 days intensive, but we have a day today, so I'm going to give you, I'm going to offer as much of it as you'd like to have. Yes, please. Yeah, oh, I thought they all knew. Why are you here? Oh, very good. I'm glad somebody invited you. I'm sorry, my name is John Hunter. Okay, and I'm a teacher, and I assume all of you are teachers as well, yeah? So we're a club. These are my people. This is good. I'm pleased to meet you all. So thank you for coming. What I'd like to offer you today is sort of what we do in the master classes we have. It's not so much about the world peace game. It's more about your teaching practice. I'm not an expert. I'm one of you. But when we come together, we find we can facilitate a sort of a deeper look into what we do as a practice. I'm a school teacher and have been for 38 years. I've been teaching quietly in my classroom, just minding my own business. And I'm teaching in what we call the gifted program, students who are smarter than I am. And so mostly I just stay out of their way and facilitate them learning more. But I taught for so many years, and a filmmaker, his name is Chris Farina. Chris Farina was introduced to me. He came into my classroom. He saw this world peace game, and he said, I'd like to make a film about this. And he's an independent filmmaker, so we thought it would make no money. It would just be in our town. But it has since gone internationally, and I'm traveling all over the world with this film and this game. I guess the thing about the game is that it's not just a one exercise. It incorporates science, math, art. I'm just trying to tell you. It incorporates many different disciplines at once. We call it a sort of meta structure. And the structure really becomes the teacher. I don't have to do direct teaching so much because the game is a structure that the children use to teach themselves. Does that make sense, I think, what I'm saying? The game really is complete enough. And they also can evolve the game and change it. So that makes it even more theirs. The fundamental thing is they're empowered to have charge of their own learning. You know, it's not just dependent on me as the only authority in the room. That they have some wisdom too, so they get to express that wisdom in their way. So Chris made this film. It's called World Peace and Other Fourth Grade Achievements. And it's about this world peace game. The game itself is a gigantic structure. It's about 4 feet wide, like 4 feet long, and 4 feet tall. It's plexiglass. There are 4 sheets of plexiglass, I think 4 by 4. Should I make and draw it maybe? I don't know, it might be a little easier to see. You know, I'm a real teacher. You go to the board when you're a teacher, you know, this is great. Now we're going to do it. So we have these 4 sheets of plexiglass. I don't know if I can do this. I hope so. I'm getting there. And they're connected, essentially, with these 4 poles, 5 poles, actually. Goes over here. And the students sit around this structure. There's 4 sides, so there's a group of students on each side. And on each level, this is a sort of emulation of the planet. There's an undersea level with submarines, undersea mining, a sunken city. There's a ground and sea level with the factories and towns and armies and navies and all the things we have on our planet, mountains and so forth. There's an aircraft level with big puffs of cotton that they push around for clouds. And they also have air forces, and each country below has a territorial airspace above it, so that's their territory for the ground below. There's 4 countries, one on each side of the board. These are fictional countries. And on the top level, we have outer space. We have space stations and satellites. There's even a black hole. They love the black hole. You know, you can have spaceships there. Asteroid mining and all those sorts of things. And the idea is that 4 teams, they're like governmental cabinets, a prime minister, secretary of state, minister of defense, and a chief financial officer are the 4 members on each side. I choose the leader, and then the leader chooses their cabinet. And this choice of the leader is the only power I have, really. But I'm trying to just set the dynamics of the game in the way that I intuitively feel this child needs a chance for leadership, or this one is something is in them that they should be trying to be in the leadership position of service. So they choose their cabinets. We have a United Nations team. I choose the Secretary of State, what is it, Defense? Thank you, yes, that person. I choose that person, the head of that, and they choose their Deputy Secretary Generals. Then I choose the head of the World Bank, and they have a large budget, 1.7 trillion, I think. And then I choose the head of the arms dealers. And also we have a weather goddess. This person controls the random stock market and the random weather. There's spinners that they spin, and they control those situations. And we also have a saboteur. I ask a child who's usually a troublemaker, the one who's always going to the office, to be the saboteur. And what their job is to, publicly they're playing one of the roles in the game. They're trying to save the world. But secretly, through miscommunication, misdirection, ambiguities, creating irrelevancies around their conversations, they're trying to destroy the entire game. And everybody in the room knows this person is there, so they're going, I have to really listen to your conversation to see if I really understand what you mean and what the consequences of what you're saying are. So it forces them to think more deeply about every moment they're there. They have to be checking and double checking. So they have a lot of fun. But the idea is that they will solve 50 interlocking problems, global problems, climate change, ethnic and minority rights and disputes, nuclear waste and chemical spills, water rights problems, desertification, making the desert of farmlands, water aquifer and farmland problems, breakaway republics. We have oil and fossil fuels problems, pollution. There's endangered species, refugee populations. Everything we have, we put in this game. We put it in all together simultaneously on every level at the same time for every country. So every country has multiple problems with every other country on every level at the same time. It's over-complexified. It's too much. But I deliberately do it because they can rise to the challenge. You know, sometimes in younger school children, we want to dumb it down. We want to say, oh, your babies, we'll give you a little bit, you can handle it. But in this game, we try to just go for the maximum potential they have. So they have to solve all these problems, and they have to also raise every country's asset value at the same time. The game is not won until every country has improved its initial value and all problems are solved. So in other words, no one can lose in order for the game to be won. And it's almost impossible to do. But they've been doing it for 34 years, and they have saved the world so many times, every time. So much so that the film about the game has been shown at the United Nations earlier this year, and also we were invited 2 times, actually 3 times, to the Defense Department, the Pentagon at the US military, which is shocking, you know. I was minding my own business and I got a card from this woman at a screening saying Defense Department, Pentagon. She said, I'd like to see you in my office. So I said, okay, I'll be there, no problem. So I went. But we didn't realize that the military of the United States, the Pentagon had been watching our film. They had shown it 4 times at the Pentagon to generals and so forth. You know, I'm a school teacher. Can you imagine how I felt? And so we went there. We were not sure what was going to happen to us, but they had a discussion with us, and they wanted to talk about how not to have war. They said, oh, we can do war very well. We're the best in the world. We can do destruction, no problem. But we don't know how to always avoid it. So we're looking for answers everywhere, even if school children have some ideas. So they had a serious discussion with myself and the filmmaker for 2 hours about how to have space, or empty space. In this game, really, there's hardly anything there. It's just plastic and some little toys, clear glass. It's almost nothing there. So we talk about it as being a space for problem solving. And so they asked us, what did we think about how to make space? We talked, and then we went home. And about a week later, we got a phone call saying, we'd like for you to bring your students to the Pentagon. So my 23 students put on their best clothes, and they practiced. We practiced for a long time. They said that the Pentagon, they would offer us a mock press conference. We would have a press conference in the actual Pentagon press briefing room. So my students, we're going to have questions to ask the press secretary. So I had the students, they were 9 years old. They wrote an official white paper, they call it a white paper, researching different real world countries. In the game, the countries are all fictional, they make them up. But we thought we'd deal with the Pentagon on a real level, so we researched real world countries. And 2 students were on the Mexico desk, 2 were on the Nigeria desk, 2 were on the Austrian desk, 2 were on the Canadian desk, and they had to research each country and find military, social, and economic problems. And then they had to develop 3 questions to ask at the Pentagon about that country. So they wore the big insignia, I'm on the Mexico desk, I'm chief of the Mexico desk, I'm chief of the Pakistan desk, and we taught them to stand and present, sir or ma'am, I'd like to ask a question, very proper. And I would wear a suit to go to school and practice with them. I would try to intimidate them. I'd try to be a policy expert. What do you have to say, child, And they would say, sir, I'd like to ask a question. So we taught them how to stand up for themselves. So they go to the Pentagon, and they have a tour, and this is a long way around. I'm telling you about the World Peace Game, I'm coming to it. And they have a tour, we go to a briefing in the morning, there are 2, 3, and 4-star generals, the top generals in the room, all morning long with the students. And they're asking my 9-year-old students policy questions. There's a photographer there, but it's not a photo opportunity. They're saying to my 9-year-old Secretary of State, so when climate change comes, this is how it affects our supply chain in the field. How does it affect your supply chain? And our Secretary of State for a little country, she's a 9-year-old girl, she says, I'm going to ask my Minister of Defense to answer that question. And the Minister of Defense would answer the question. Just imagine how, and I'm in awe because they're really listening. The most powerful military machine in history is listening to children. I don't know if they'll do anything about it. So we have lunch, had pizza, with the generals, and then we were ushered into an office. And it was the office of Defense Secretary Leon Panetta, perhaps one of the 3rd most powerful military person in the world right now, it seems. And he was so gracious, he was so kind. He took off his jacket and he stayed longer than he was supposed to. He was supposed to stay 10 minutes, he stayed for a half an hour asking policy questions of the children. And it was an amazing thing. Then he had to put on his coat and go see the president. So he left. But this was an experience, and I'll show you some pictures actually of they took pictures of us in the Pentagon and gave them to us, but I can share them with you. But this is the potential of a teacher's curriculum. I'm just a regular guy, I'm a teacher teaching. You never know what's going to happen. You never know what potential you have, so everything you do becomes so important. Because it's just a regular thing to me, a game we're playing. But your act may have such power and resonance beyond just what you're doing in front of this one child. So that really affected me to see that. So we played the game, 34 years, and it's this big structure, and now there are 2 of them, and I'm playing the game around the world in different places. I played in Norway last summer, in Bergen, with adults and teenagers. Amazing game, very sophisticated. There were Norwegians, Finns, Czech, Bosnians, Finns, and a Brit from UK, and an American also. So it was an amazing thing to see this happen. There's a book coming out in April next year. The film is there. There's a 2nd book coming. And really, I didn't do anything but say yes. You know how sometimes things just come and you just, okay. I didn't plan to have a book or plan to have a film or plan to go to the Pentagon. None of that. It just happened. So if it can happen to a regular guy like me, it can happen to anybody, so be ready. That's what I tell my colleagues. Be prepared. Anything could happen. So that essentially is what the game is all about, and I can, of course, show you some pictures of the thing. You can see it on the internet in a lot of places. Yeah.
How long does it take to find these solutions? I imagine that takes weeks.
Yeah, we play in my classroom, it takes about 8 to 10 weeks. We play maybe twice a week, 45 minutes or an hour each session. And in the summer, I have a summer session that goes 5 days, 3 hours in the morning every day. And at the end of 5 days, they win the game. They solve all the problems, and they do it a different way every time. And these ways that they solve them have to be feasible, reasonable. I mean, it's not practical necessarily. They're children, they're playing with play money, but the idea is that the theory and the philosophy and the concept of the solution works. And the weather goddess, usually a very, very, very smart girl that I have functioning in the class, will make a decision. She may do some research at home on the internet or whatever to find out if their solutions are reasonable and viable. If they are, she rules they're in. If they're not, she rules no. So they have to be workable solutions in that sense. Yeah. So that's how it works. There's a saboteur. We have a trial for the saboteur if you want to accuse the person. If you're wrong, it's a $50 million fine for slander, libel, false accusation though. But if you're right, you get an award of $50 million, and then that person drops that role and plays a regular role.
Are they not asking questions all the time?
All the time.
To get your response?
They're trying to, yeah, but you know, I don't know the answer. I don't know how to get world peace. I have no idea. So I really can't help them very much. But the idea is that the structure puts them into a situation where they have to discover the way themselves. And the shocking thing to me is every year, for over 30 years, they discover, they say, that they learn that we have to take care of everybody. That we don't ask, did you do your fair share, or are you worthy? They just say we have to take care of everybody. We can't throw anybody out. And so they have this ideal of compassion and reducing suffering. That seems to be their goal. Maybe that's just the way children are, I don't know. I play with teenagers too, adults, young adults now, and they all seem to have the same desire. I don't really have to teach or preach, you know, you should be nice. They find out, they have nuclear weapons in the game, they can launch nuclear weapons. They launch ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles, they have military, Army, Navy, Air Force. We read Sun Tzu's The Art of War. My 9-year-olds read it, and they understand Sun Tzu is talking about how to avoid war, or if you're in it, how to get out of it quickly with the least amount of suffering and damage. So they're carrying around their little pocket versions of Sun Tzu in their little pockets, you know, and Sun Tzu says, you know, and they really come to understand it in their own way. Sometimes they have warfare. Sometimes students say, I've got to do it. And other times they say, we'll not do it. It's their own choice. But they come through it and they realize at the end, compassion seems to be the better way. So I'll tell you one quick story from the game to maybe illustrate, and then I'll stop talking. Am I boring? I don't want to be, okay, I'll stop talking for a second. We're going to do something soon. In the game, we had a little girl. Her name was Amy. Amy is the Minister of Defense on the poorest country's cabinet. Her friend Marcy is the Prime Minister, and Shauna is the Secretary of State, and there's a CFO. And that poor country is next to a very wealthy, oil-rich country, very wealthy country, powerful military. And for some reason, after we were playing, we don't know why, Amy suddenly, with her very poor army and very poor navy and very poor air force, attacks this large, oil-rich neighbor next to her. We're shocked. Why is she doing this? It's against her prime minister's orders. Her prime minister said, we don't have much money, stay still, don't do anything. She marched her armored column, her tank corps, into this neighboring country, surrounded its oil reserves, its oil fields, and had her Air Force on standby overhead for tactical airstrikes if she needed them. She's a 9-year-old tank commander. And the large enemy, the large country, was outraged. But they couldn't attack her. They couldn't stop her because they could not fire on their own oil reserves. If they missed, they would destroy their own reserves and cause an ecological disaster. So she is very shrewd. She held the reserves for a time, and we were all angry at her. Why are you doing this? This is a world peace game. What is wrong with you? But come to find out a few plays later, it was revealed. She understood this. This large neighbor had a bully, a little boy who was a bully for a prime minister, and he was going to take over the entire world. He was going to use his tank corps and march around the world, defeating country after country. That was his plan. And somehow this little girl, Amy, saw the trends the vectors, what he was going to do, the intentions. She saw it all lining up. She saw the equation. And she said, I have to do something. I have to stand up. My prime minister doesn't want me to do anything. My best friend Shauna doesn't want me to do anything. Mr. Hunter doesn't want me to have war. He's the teacher, and this is a peace game. But she says, if I don't, it will be disaster. Her own intuition spoke to her, and she made a philosophical decision to stand up alone and to start a small war to avert a larger war. And you can imagine the philosophical implications of that in a 9-year-old. Imagine adults wrestling with that question. But that's the kind of thinking that the game engenders. I couldn't teach her that. I couldn't hardly assess that. What grade do you give that? A, B, C? I can't imagine. But you know, we call it self-evident assessment. It's very clear when it came out what was going to happen and what she had done. It's very clear the value of what she was doing and the depth of her thinking. But yet we can't test it. You know, we're test crazy in America. We want to test everything. But we can't test the deeper knowledge and deeper thinking sometimes. So that's kind of I guess a synopsis of what's going on in there. Okay. Enough about me, I think. All of you are maybe in different aspects of your life. What we do in our master classes with the World Peace Games, we talk about the World Peace Game. But then we ask you to talk about yourselves and who you are. And the idea is that by us sharing, we will start to see connections and patterns and start to understand new insights from hearing it from other people. And this will enrich us and make things easier for us and better for us. So really we become each other's teachers. It's not like you've come here because this guy is supposed to be so smart. It's really, I'm an excuse really for you to be here and do this. So if you would like, what I propose is that we have these 3 questions. Who are you? Why are you here? And what do you expect to take away with you from this today? And you can write on these big sheets of paper. It can be private. It can be just yours for yourself. But at the end, we'd ask you to actually share. Who are you? Why are you here? And what do you want to take away? In just an open discussion. You can say as little or as much as you want. In this class, when we usually do this, we have people who talk sometimes 15 minutes. Maybe not 15 minutes here today, but you know, you can actually have the freedom to say what you want to say. We start with that. That gets us to know each other and to really even get more insight into who we are. And from there, we go into our own practice. Whatever practice you're doing, whether it's social, emotionally disturbed, whatever practice you're doing, we're going to investigate your practice with some tools I have that help throw some light on it, I think. And then, of course, I'm going to show you a few of my tools, these meta tools like the World Peace Game, that you can use. They're not games, they're not gigantic structures, they're very simple things. But they allow students, allow children to really have a toolkit that they can use 10, 20, 30 years from now. It won't be obsolete because it's so universal and so rich. So that's the kind of thing we're trying. We teach them to solve a problem today. They solve it, but then 20 years from now, they don't know how to solve problems. They just solve that one problem. So we're now thinking, how can we show them how to deal with life, with everything that comes up in a good way, really? That's what we're trying to do. So that's my toolkit. And then at the end, if you like, we can actually design something. You can design something that you can use in your practice to take away with you. I have a format, a framework you can use if you want to do that kind of thing. So that's the proposal outline. If you want to modify, take out parts, or have questions about some things, or want to add things, please let me know and we can change it. This is your workshop, not my workshop, actually. So if you have some ideas, something you want to do, we can do that too. This is, I think, maybe the best piece for me, the best tool. And again, these I'm going to show you are different tools that we're using. I'll do this one first. This, and I mentioned part of it last night in my talk, this is called the self-evident assessment. Self-evident meaning that a student can look at it and understand whether or not they understand. They understand the degree of their understanding, which I think is very nice. The teacher can also do it simultaneously, so the teacher can say, I see what you're seeing, or the teacher and student can disagree. You say you have this understanding, I see this, let's talk about that. So it really opens the door. What happens is you have these 3 vertical thermometers. Basically, students say, let's make them thermometers, you know, to measure temperature. But we're going to put a scale of 1, down here and 10 up here, 1 to 10. So the first column, the first thermometer, is function. I'm just putting this in. Usually they have a little box, a little F here, just F that says function. And the student is to shade in how well or how much they think their approach, their solution, their project, their idea, how well it functions. It functions maybe up to a 7, or it works up to a 5. They can put down what they think they accomplished. Did you accomplish it? A 5, 10, whatever you think. Teacher, I will have one simultaneously. Oh no, I think only a 2. Let's talk about this. So you have 2 different assessments going, the students from their point of view and yours, and you're going to compare and collaborate on an ultimate assessment if you want to. And then, so the student says, here's how I think my project, did it succeed or not? The second column is actually, I call it beauty or aesthetics. Beauty or aesthetics. The student says, beauty or aesthetics. The elegance of how elegant, how beautiful, how lovely was your design. Okay. The idea is that you can do a project, but you can do it very sloppily. You know, and who cares? You just didn't put any thought or care into it. You accomplished it, but it looks horrible, or it's no good. It doesn't give any pleasure to anyone, but you accomplished the goal. So this is what we're trying to look at and bring art and a little subjectivity and elegance and grace into learning and so forth. Not just, did you do it? Did you pass the test? This is the style that you have in your life. And then this next one is effort. Now, effort is interesting. Sometimes we use this in the final accounting, sometimes we don't, because some students, you know, my gifted classes, maybe they make very little effort and they get great results. Some students work all night and they still can't do it. But you can still have a measure of the effort you put in to each project. This whole thing is for a lesson or a unit. This is a sort of an assessment of an entire unit or lesson. Is this making sense so far? Any questions? Okay. And then this column, I love this because this is resources. Where did you get your understanding, ideas? Please list and tell what web page, what book, what primary resource, what person, what library, what actual podcast did you listen to? Please cite your sources. And you've got a record of everything that came into play to make this result possible for you. Please cite all your resources. Tell me everything you went to, even if it's your grandpa, your grandma, whatever. We want to know the name and resources. Then you can also make comments. Down here would be a comments section about the difficulty, the understanding, the questions, whatever you had that turned up in the process that you want to talk about or share, you need to go further with. Okay, that's the hard assessment. And last night I talked about the mind map, where to get this result, please show us how you got that result. So I woke up in the morning, the alarm clock went off, and the student who likes to have the emotional map go with it, I was feeling very good, my heart was big, it was great. And then I thought, I want to take this problem that we have for this lesson today. I'm going to do 2 planes or make it like this, but then I changed my mind and made it like this, and then I moved toward this shape. I think it's a cup. No, it's not. I crossed that and I went another direction. And of course, you see the mind map in here. They start crying because they realize this isn't going to work. Later, they had a big smile because they realized it is going to do a different thing. And they show the whole process of how they got it. Simple.
Big smile. I thought this is the point where they're going to lose their teeth.
Lose their teeth. Yes, they might fall. Some of the little children, the teeth fall out. Yes, they do. In the process, they do. They fall right out. So some students want to write this. Writing is okay. Some want to draw it. They want to color it. They want to make a beautiful thing. And on top of this, the nice part is, and this is an amazing thing, my friend Howard Gardner does this thing called multiple intelligences. Maybe you've heard. He says you can learn kinesthetically. Some people just have to do it. They have to move it in order to really learn it. Other people have to see it. Show me the thing. Other people have to hear it. So these multiple intelligences, I think he has about eight now. One is even emotional intelligence. Some people have to feel the thing to really get it, he says. So you got the boxes on the side for your multiple EMI, we call them, multiple intelligences. And a student can check the box that they think the modality is they are using. You know, I'm a very visual spatial learner, so most of mine is going to be visual spatial, VS. Some kids are going to be interpersonal. I've got to talk to somebody. I've got to talk it out before I get it. So that child's going to check another box. Now, you do this for a lesson. You do it for several lessons. You do it 10 times a year, 20 times, 30, as many times as you like. Students have a stack of them. By my students just pick up one and do it anytime. So they're doing these mind maps and these assessments all the time. At the end of the term, or quarter, whenever you like, they sit down and take their stack, and they start looking through the stack, and they start to go, oh, look at the way I think. It becomes a mirror for your mind. That's the way they see it. Like, I can see how I am. I can see what kind of effort I'm making generally over time. I can see how much I care about beauty and elegance. And the teacher, I have my own stack, and I go, wait a minute, this is much more beautiful than you thought. You're always down on yourself all the time. You've got a score of 2 here when everybody else would give you a score of 7. Peer groups can do this with each other. You know, if they trust each other and they won't, you know, make fun of each other or cause problems, and there's a trust, they can share and help each other this way without you being involved. And then the beautiful thing I said last night was when they start trading these, they start giving theirs to other people and taking. I want to be more, you have kinesthetic here, movement. I want to be more kinesthetic. I want to move more in my projects. So I'm going to try and do a mind map with the emotions, and maybe I'm going to put movements in here. How did I actually do things? Did I jump up and down? Did I run around? What did I do? So they can have another dimension to this map as well. They can evolve the map. They can control their assessment vehicle, their assessment tool. They feel empowered that they are in control of their own learning by this tool. And there are other versions of it. I have one that's a circular version, concentric circles, that kind of thing. You can do any way you want. The idea is that students can make a decision or have a view about how they think they are doing and can compare it with your view. You're still the teacher. You still have to make that. You're still in charge. You still have to sign off on the document. But together, they feel empowered, that they have control, that they can have a conference with the teacher about themselves and not be left out when the parent-teacher conferences come, the students at home waiting, I hope it's okay. I hope they come back and it's all right. They are part of this whole operation then. So that's called self-evident assessment tool. And there are versions of it I have. If you want more, I'll send you more in the email or whatever. So that's the idea. It's a meta tool, a larger structure that sort of allows a student to design and run it themselves. Does that make sense? That's my whole point, is student empowerment that's shared with the teacher. We're collaborators, really. Okay, that's that part. So Irene. Oh, that's the mind map. I'm sorry, the mind map. I just call it, yeah. I mean, you can call it anything you like. You know, you can do whatever you want. This is just my idea, and it's just a suggestion, but the idea is that you can take it and make it what you need it to be. And students, you know, I didn't do this by myself. My students helped think of this. We did it together. And that's the thing. We worked on it together, and they decided on the thermometers, you know, and I suggested the mind map, and they suggested, do we have to write it? Can we draw it? I said, yeah, why don't we do that? So it was a collaboration. So if you have your students or the people you're working with help you design their own assessment tool, they're even more empowered. You know, they want to trade them like trading cards. I want to give you mine. Let me try yours. I'll try yours next week. And this week I'm trying his or hers. So it becomes that kind of thing. I'll leave these around if you want to see. I'm just moving this aside for now. Okay, now we're going to go a whirlwind because you want to eat some lunch. And I'm afraid we're going to have to get up and move around a little bit. I hope you don't mind. This is called brainstorming. It's a tool, and brainstorming has a cousin called FFOE, F-F-O-E, and another cousin called Scamper. So these are 3 tools. So I'd like to ask you to learn them with me. And the way we're going to do them is we're going to do them. We're going to move. I think Ursula's right. We're going to have to get up and do some moving. So if you wouldn't mind standing where you are very quickly, we'll do this really fast. Get your appetite up for lunch if you want to. If you can stand, I'm going to take you through these exercises and show you how we teach them, if you like. Maybe not. Yes, you can stand up. Yes, please stand if you would. Join me. We'll have a good time. I promise. Yeah, we'll have fun. Oh, no, now he had to stand up. This guy thought we were just going to go to a workshop and sit around. No. I'll leave these up, so they'll be up once we finish. Don't worry. When working with the children, we want them to basically problem solve with these toolkits. This brainstorming toolkit, I said, take a problem and run the problem through this equation. Run the problem through it. We start off with fluency. Think of as many ideas as you can. The sign for fluency is this, fluency. Could you try it with me? Fluency, fluency, fluency. Open your breathing too, very good. And the second one, in this equation, you want to withhold judgment. A student, a friend of yours has a great idea. You say, that's a great idea, don't think of any more. There may have been a better idea coming, but you're judged too soon, you stop the flow. Also, they might have had an idea that's not so good. You say, oh, it's terrible, I don't want to hear any more ideas. Again, they might have had a better idea, but you stop the flow. So withholding judgment until the very end is a good thing. So here's our sign for that. It's withhold judgment. Withhold judgment. Withhold judgment. Withhold judgment. Very good. And the next one, wild ideas are okay. I think it was an Austrian who actually invented the automobile. It was in his horse barn. He was a tinkerer, and he wanted to have a carriage that rode without horses, and he invented a motor, and he drove it in the street and scared people. And so his friend said he was tinkering. That's a wild idea, a crazy idea. Stop doing that. But he did and persisted, so we have the automobile. So we have a sign saying wild ideas in brainstorming are okay. Wild ideas, brainwaves, are okay. Wild ideas, okay. Wild ideas, okay. Wild ideas, okay. Here's one your very savvy children will love. We call it piggybacking ideas. Do you ever have children who say, he stole my idea. That was my idea. He stole it right out of my head. You know, we call it piggybacking ideas. We say that you jump on somebody else's idea, you're riding their idea. And the sign for that is piggyback ideas. Piggyback ideas. Come on. Piggyback ideas. Let's go. Piggyback ideas. One more. Piggyback ideas. Very good. Yes, it's a good thing. So you hear an idea, it gives you an idea. Or you hear an idea similar to your idea. And you sort of build collaboration in with that. You build acceptance into that. So that's one tool. We're going to go right straight through to FFOE. F-F-O-E. It's brainstorming's cousin because it starts off with fluency. And you already know the sign for that. This one, the next one is flexibility. Here's the sign for it. Flexibility, 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 flexibility. This means thinking of things in different ways. This is the chair. Let's say my good friend Siggy, though, goes to the beauty parlor. She has this lovely $75 perm and haircut. She comes to the door, she's leaving, it's raining. She's not going to go out in the rain and get that ruined 75, what's it, euros hair? Not going to ruin that hairdo, no way. She looks around the shop, there's no umbrella, there's no raincoat. She's got to use flexible thinking. The only thing in the shop she can use is a chair. So she uses flexible thinking to turn the chair into an umbrella. And she walks out. Still a chair. The children, it's still a chair. Yes, but it's also an umbrella. Or my good friend Gabby is trying to put something on the wall and students are coming in and she doesn't want to be, there's no ladder. She's got to get it up before it's done. Flexible thinking turns a chair into a ladder, a step stool. Or my good friend Robert is playing soccer. He's out there kicking the ball around. He's knocking it out. Suddenly he pulls a hamstring. Oh! He can't move. The students, the children are going to run him over because they don't see him. He's right on the field. He's right at the sideline, but he can't get off. He can't walk. The only thing is an empty chair at the sideline. Robert uses flexible thinking and turns a chair into a walking stick. So anything can be anything is the idea behind it. So that's flexible thinking. Then, of course, originality. You want to encourage students to try to think of something that no one else will think of. That's the actual phrase we use. Try to think of something that no one else will think of. Originality. And so the sign for that is Originality, big O. Originality, originality, originality. Very good. And the last one, adding details, elaboration. It's elaboration. Look at all the details. Elaboration, 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 elaboration. Okay, now we're going to see if you really learned your lesson. Ursula, would you like to be our line leader, our class leader, and come up and take us through those two toolkits? Yeah, would you like to do what I did? Yes, be the leader, yes. Please, you move so well. Okay, have a round of applause for us. Yes, come please, yes. There you go. Okay. You just go, just say, you take them through it and you do it and they follow you.
And find a new motion.
No, this motion. no, don't confuse them, don't confuse them, no. This motion. When you go home, you can make your own motion. Here we do these. So we're going to do it. Oh, okay, I'll call them. I'll do it with you. I'll do it right with you. Okay, we're going to count. We're going to move quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, and fluency, 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 fluency. Number 2 is withhold judgment, withhold judgment, withhold judgment, withhold judgment. And wild ideas, okay. Wild ideas, okay. Wild ideas, okay. Wild ideas, okay. And piggyback ideas, piggyback ideas, piggyback ideas, piggyback ideas. Go straight into FFO. It's going to be again fluency, 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 and flexibility, 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 and originality. Ooh, originality, originality, originality. And finally, it's elaboration, 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 elaboration. Round of applause for yourselves. Nicely done. You may be seated now. I'm going to let you rest. Okay, we go through the rest very quickly.
Excuse me.
Yes.
I didn't catch the last one, elaboration. What do you mean by that?
Which one? The elaboration? Elaboration is essentially, let's say my good friend, I give a lot of details. Sometimes a picture is worth 1,000 words. So my good friend Susan, she's there, she's smiling. Susan's there, she's lovely. Hand on her hip, and she's got a little sleeve there. She's got a hand on the hip over here, and she's got the nice dress on. She's going downtown. This is what I do for the kids. Of course, they go, oh, Mr. Hunter, this is really bad. So we're doing some elaboration. So Susan's going to a party. She says, well, I've got to have some necklaces. Not just one, I'm going to have a strings of pearls and beads. So she has many, many necklaces she wears like that. Nice earrings, but yes, very elaborate earrings, lots of details. And she's got a lovely hairband with lots of details in it. I know you're looking like the 1960s, sorry, but there you go. And she wants bracelets, many, many bracelets and bangles, lots of bracelets. And this dress, it's too plain. We have to have some patterns in the dress, you know, some designs and things going on. And the shoes, nice high heel, wonderful shoes, the wedgies, you know, very nice, looking good like that. Sorry about that, you get the idea. So anyway, the idea is that and they got buckles on them and stuff like that. The idea is that you add details, not just a plain. So the students get excited and they want to make more and they go into lots of detail. So elaboration, yes. Okay. Now, should we continue with the rest of the tools, take a break for lunch, we can whiz through, or shall we stop? Yes, please.
How does this fluency, flexibility, originality, how does this fit into brainstorming? What category, what headline, what title? How does it, I don't understand. Is it another way to do it, or?
Yes, another tool.
Okay.
Yeah, and the nice thing is students start modifying the tool as soon as you give it to them. They start creating their own tools. And the thing is, these are timeless. You know, 20 years from now, it still works. Doesn't matter what the content is. You can still say, should we withhold judgment for a little while? Yes, a good idea always, you know. that kind of thing. So these tools are kind of universal in that way. Another one like that is called Scamper, S-C-A-M-P-E-R. And the students can learn these with their bodies. You do them, you hear them, you see them, you say them, and they are imprinted in. So you're not having them memorize a list of words. They live the whole thing because they feel it. You know, their bodies are the main way they learn at younger ages. So Scamper, what can you substitute to solve this problem? What can you take out and put something else in its place that makes it work better? I don't know, but let's see if there's anything we can substitute. Is there anything we can combine? What can we put with this to make something work better? What can we adapt? How can we adapt it? Change it in some way so that it works. Can we maximize, minimize? Can we make something larger on it, or make the whole thing bigger, or make it smaller? If it's less of it, is there less of a problem? Can we put it to other uses? Can this be an umbrella instead of a chair, if it solves the problem? Put to other uses. Eliminate. What can we just get rid of on this thing? Maybe we just don't need this part. It doesn't work. Get rid of it. Everything is solved. Or reverse. Turn upside down, inside out, turn backwards. Look at it from a different way. That's what that means. Reverse it. So the students, again, we dance and sing Scamper, and they have a whole singing and dancing toolkit. They drive their parents crazy for about a week when we learn this. And we do it every so often to reinforce. But the next year, I see those same students. I see them students 20 years later. Mr. Hunter, remember this? Yeah. On the strike too. So Mr. Yadford, I remember that, yeah. So you see that happen. Now, shall we move on then, or shall we? Oh, yes, please. Yes, Gabby, I'd love to go. Let's go, yes.
We are not quite sure. Is that what you use in classroom with the kids when you're teaching? So, like what we call non-verbal management in class? Is that, or with students? When you talk about students, you're not talking about
any student. You could teach high school this, yeah. Okay. You do, because it's just the tool. You can teach high school kids, you may not have them dancing and singing, you know, if they're embarrassed. But you can just show the list, show them how it works, and they commit to memory or to themselves.
And you do that all in class just to get them in a position to check what they are doing?
In a position, yes, in a position to problem solve. And well, they're in charge of the toolkit for problem solving. So I said, how are we going to solve this problem? And they go, I don't know. Or they go, let's run it through our toolkit and see what we come up with. So they've got multiple tools. There's even more coming. So many possibilities of solving problems. They feel empowered because they know they have a great tool set to work with. They may not solve the problem, but they feel like confidence that they might be able to, because they've got a way. There is a way to do it. You know, before it's like, can you solve this problem if you don't have any skills or background? No. But if you have some tools to start, then you can begin to work. Yeah, please stop me because I go fast. Any questions? Yes, Monica. Irene, you have to go? You got it. Thank you so much, Irene. Thank you. It was a pleasure to meet you. Our pleasure too. Take care. Cheers. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, yes.
How do you use that in class? How do you apply it? When they don't know it before, how do you introduce this?
How do you apply it?
How do you apply it? How do you use these?
Oh, I say, boys and girls, we're going to learn to solve every problem in the world today.
We're going to do that.
No, we're going to solve problems. We're going to solve, and I'll show you how it's going to be fun, too.
What was the movement for elaboration? What was the movement for elaboration?
Elaboration. Details. You can make it you can say it's this. You can do anything you want. It's up to you. You know, I make up my own, but you have your own vocabulary, you know. You can do whatever you want. Yes, Esther Marie. Put to other uses. Use it. Yeah, I'm sorry, you can't read my writing. Use it in a different way. This could be a glass. This could also be, let's see, a bell. This could also be a hat for a wooden puppet. Yes?
What's the difference between adapt and put to other uses?
Ah, good question. That's a good question. Let's ask the children and see what they say. That's what I would do because I could give an answer, but they might see it a different way. So I could say that means to shape it differently or turn it differently. They might say it's to take the thing itself, whereas some other child might say, no, it's to use a completely different way, the use of it. Another might say it's the shape of it. So you have to determine that in your own classroom. What does adapt mean? It's a great discussion, because these are kind of ambiguous, which is good. That means you have to decide what you want to do with it. Good question, Werner. Really good question.
So it would be fun for me again, just us, without John, to make up German words.
Oh, yes. You want to do it now? You can do it. Oh, we'll do it after lunch, maybe. Okay. Shall we run through and then have you at lunch? Okay, here we go. This is called the perspective wheel. It's basically a circle in the center. In the center, you put the subject or topic or issue you want to discuss. You want the students to work on. Either one. Topic, subject, or issue in the center. Could be anything. I'll leave these up all day. And you in the center have this, and you divide the paper. They have a sheet of paper into 4 quadrants, 4 sections. 1, 2, 3, and 4. This issue is going to be your point of discussion. So I would like for each student or each group of students to write a persuasive paper, a persuasive argument on one different point of view about this topic. In my state of Virginia, they have deer hunting season. I'm a vegetarian, but they have deer hunting season. So in deer hunting season, you have the hunter's perspective. I love to go in the woods and clean my guns, and I love taking aim and the concentration and the stalking, and it's just an amazing experience with nature. And then the children say, what about the deer's perspective, Mr. Hunter? So we have to do the deer's perspective. I'm afraid, I'm running around, the hunter's chasing me, and so they write about the deer's perspective. Then some say, how about the forest perspective? They're trampling on my roots, deer eating the bark, and all these guns are going off. It's crazy, it's driving me crazy. Little kids will have that kind of reaction, which is great. And then over here, one student said, how about the gun's perspective? Or the gun manufacturer? What do they think? They want to sell more guns, of course, so what is the gun manufacturer's perspective? So this is fine, they write the perspective, but here's the thing. You ask them to then roll around the perspective wheel and write persuasively from this point of view, and write persuasively from this point of view, and write persuasively from here. They can do research. At the higher levels, high school, they do background research, so they can support their arguments very, very strongly. But then they switch arguments, do background research, and come back and persuasively. They don't have to believe it. The thing is that they learn how to build an argument, and argue a case, and to see a different perspective. You know, adults, we often say, that's what I believe, that's it. I'm not even going to go around the circle. I don't care about the other points. This is what I like. This is what I believe. So you're training them at a young age to have flexible thinking and to automatically look for all the different perspectives in depth. Do this 20 times in a school year. You've got flexible thinkers. 30, 40 times in a school year, you've got people that can do anything. They can handle any kind of argument equation. They don't care because they know how to look for information. They know how to see all the points of view. And they become great debaters. They can debate so well because they can see everything. It's like a global view. It's like having a huge eye to see everything at once. But the practice is what makes it so. I call this the perspective wheel. And it's called a wheel because usually the whole thing is in a big circle like this on a piece of paper. And there are other exercises like this. I mean, there's other ways of doing this very same thing. This is just the way I do it. But it works very well. So that's just, again, another universal tool. You can do it with kindergartners. Kindergartners. What's your favorite food at lunchtime? Well, I like broccoli. What? Broccoli? Well, broccoli is helpful for you. Maybe you just have 2 perspectives sometimes. Maybe just 2. That's fine. So that's how it works. And as they get older and more advanced, you can have more perspectives. The subtleties increase. Things become more subtle and refined. They can have many more perspectives. And they can become these great founts of wisdom because they have so much understanding that they can achieve at once and then be able to talk about it clearly. Okay, that's the perspective wheel. Deductive and inductive reasoning. Okay, we're almost done now. And you do this in a funnel. Again, little kids, we teach them deductive reasoning is like this. Deduct, 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 deduct. They love to clap at the end. Deduct, 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 deduct. Inductive is, I think it's induct, 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 induct. Essentially, like fluency, we throw as many ideas as we can together to solve a problem. And of course, when we do bring in our judgment over here, then we can finally decide on what the best one is. At some point, you do have judgment at the very end. With this kind of thinking, you want to reverse the process. I use a funnel to describe. Let's say we take a cup. How many different things can we use this cup for, this glass for? We can use it as a bell. We can use it as a doorstop. Use it as a foot massager. Put it on your foot and roll it. You can use it as a pocket stuffer. I know, thousands of ideas. The thing is, you get them to create the habit of thinking of lots of different ways out of a problem. You know, adults get stuck with one or two, and you want them just to have the habit of thinking of many different ways and not be stopped at one difficult part. So again, this is inductive reasoning, deductive reasoning, another toolkit, and we do that with the kinesthetic learning, so they have that also. And we have, what else we have? This is a teacher tool, but it works very well. And this is the last one, then we go to lunch maybe. I have plenty more. Questions about any of the others? Any others? You'll think of German words soon, yeah? Okay, very good. This is called the inverted T. And the inverted T is a teacher tool, but students soon take it from me and start using it themselves. What this is you present a lesson. This circle is a lesson, and whatever the subject is contained in the circle. You present them with the choice. I'd like for you to choose which, multiple intelligence you're going to use. Are you going to dance this assignment? Are you going to draw this assignment? Are you going to write about it? Are you going to talk to somebody about it? Or are you going to have an inner dialogue and do a journal about it? How would you like to deal with this subject, this lesson? And they would choose their modality based on the choices of the actual lesson. These are the different things they can choose to do in the lesson. I'll give you an example. In Virginia, we study Egyptian culture in second grade. The 8-year-olds study Egyptian culture. So the lesson is Egyptian culture. They've had some background, a little training, a little preparation. Today we're going to talk about the Egyptian culture. You have 4 choices of what you can do in this lesson. The first choice, and you present them so they're all equal. This is the way I present them to students here at the bottom. They're just all equal choices. No values, just this is a choice, that's a choice, this is a choice, that's a choice. But actually, there is an easy one, not so easy, more difficult, and the most difficult choice. But they get to choose because they don't know. And sometimes you see students who we say are very low, choosing this and doing well. But our test would say, no, we won't even give them 4 or 3. The test would say, no, they can't do 4 or 3, but if they choose, they might choose and might succeed. So this gives them the option of self-selecting, selecting themselves what they want to try. So in Egyptian culture, we have the first assignment is take the hieroglyphics, Egyptian lettering, and I want you to make an Egyptian sentence with the hieroglyphics. That's all, simple, just a sentence. 3 words. Second grade, you can do it. 3 words, 4 words, fine. So they make a sentence. They can choose to make a sentence. Some are happy just to do that. That's all they can do. The second choice they have over here is make an Egyptian poem using hieroglyphics. Now this goes beyond just basic sentence. You've got to be more creative in a literary way. You've got to start thinking about interpretation and inference. And poetry is a higher form that they're going to be engaged in. So they're going to do an Egyptian poem with the hieroglyphics. You're incorporating the first stage and the second in the second assignment and taking the second assignment further. So this is making sense so far? This is good? So a sentence, a poem, a little bit more. The third choice here and here is, please, if you would, in your own language without the hieroglyphics, write a journal page from a day in the life of an Egyptian pharaoh, a scribe, or a slave. You choose. But we want to have detailed information about what that life is like. So number one, they've got to research the information After they've made a choice, then they've got to interpret it and put it in a journal format, in written format that we like for them to follow in class. So again, it's taking more order, more formation to what you want them to do. And the highest level, please write a chapter, or even a page, but a chapter on what happens if suddenly an ancient Egyptian was to appear in our classroom. They stepped into a time machine or a wormhole, and suddenly they're here. What is that experience going to be like for that person? Or you can write about what it's going to be like for you being right beside them when they appear. Or let's turn it around. Let's say you step into a time machine and suddenly appear right when the pyramids are being built. Please write a chapter or a journal entry about what that's going to be like for you. What are the consequences? What happens? What's the story? So the story is taking it further. So you got children who you would think would be at level 1, getting excited about this and doing it. But you didn't think they could. So that choice, and they choose to maybe, in this case we're saying write it. This is we use the literary option. But you can say, take the computer software and let's make some music based on hieroglyphics, music based on Egyptian poetry, music about the journal entry. You can do the dance about, you can do something, let's have a dance of an Egyptian census using hieroglyphics. Make your body into hieroglyphic shapes and dance out this song line, or the poem, or the lyrics of the Egyptian song. So you can use the different modalities they can choose. I limited this one today to the literary modality, to language and writing. But they could choose different ones, and if they can talk to you beforehand and say, I'd like to try it like this. What do you think? You talk it over with them. I don't think that's really feasible today. Tell me what you think, and they show you their plan. If the plan won't work, try something else. But they can't really fail because they're going to find some way in. At their level of success, everyone succeeds at their level. Everyone has a chance to look good, and they don't realize some are better than others. They might, well, you did more work than I did, but they might not be realizing that you're ordering this in a hierarchy. They're just saying, I'm able to do what I'm able to do, and I'm having success. Everybody's having success. That's the inverted T model of instruction.
Do they have to fill all?
No, just one.
Or is it just one?
Some want to. Some say, I want to do them all. I want to do every one. Yeah, but I only ask for one. Yeah. And they say, can I take the other ones home and do them? Yes, you can do them.
You don't write 1, 2, 3, 4 up there.
No, I just get, they only see this and this, 2 horizontal lines. They only see the choices. These are the multiple intelligences again, this circle line, and these are just the content choices.
What is the word for intelligence? Mutual?
Multiple intelligence. Howard Gardner is the theorist who developed that. Howard Gardner. Multiple intelligences. If you search for that on the internet, you'll find it. I think he has about 8 of them now. One is emotional and spiritual even, I think he says. Okay, shall we have lunch? You've really been patient. I really appreciate it. We come back, we're going to do some more. You're actually going to get to use the tools when we come back and develop your own tool to take home. That's the idea. I can give you a model of the framework for use for it. It's very simple. It's just a big wheel, that's all. And the wheel is divided into maybe 6, 7 sections. Each section is a part that you use to build that part of the curriculum. You can write it in the center of the wheel, and you just sort of make like a cooking stew. You put in different ingredients, and then you have it, you stir it, and there's your curriculum. But it's a different way of working, and it allows you a lot of freedom, but structure also. So the way we thought we'd practice to use the tools is to actually take these objects and to try and create an improvement in them, something no one else has done before. Using originality, those tools, I'll put those back up too, but for example, to improve a pair of eyeglasses, there are actually eyeglasses now where you have a little light here, and you can, jewelers use them, you can wear them like headlights. Some child thought of that idea, and I go to my local hardware store and there they are, some child in the world. And in a shoe, how can we improve shoes? Some child thought, well, I'd like to have a wheel built into my shoe. And so they have them and they go around. So there's so many things that can be done, but it's still unexplored. What can we do to improve a cup? A cup seems pretty normal. I mean, that's it. My students say, how about putting a little temperature on the a little thermometer on the outside? So when you have your tea, you see, oh, too hot, I'm not drinking. You know, simple things. So what we'll do this in teams. And teams will have just a short time to come up with as many different, unique ideas as you can. When I say unique, I mean, if I say, what can we use a cup or a glass for? If you say, fill it with marbles, fill it with dirt and put a plant in it, fill it with checkers, fill it with toothpicks, that's actually only one idea. It's a container. So we're looking for unique ideas. It's a hat, it's a doorstop, it's a bell. Those things are different, unique ideas. So we're trying to find not just the same thing in a different format here, but something totally different. So you might have to run it through Scamper. What can you substitute? Combine, can you eliminate, maximize? Those sorts of things help you think. So do you need the toolkit back up again? I can put it back up, you can see it, I'll put it back. And then we're gonna get into teams. How big should our teams be? 2, 3, 5, 10 people? How many people should be on a team? What do you think? So we have 4, 8, 12, 13. We have 13 people. What do you think? Teams of three teams? Okay. Plenty of paper, this big paper here. And the idea is to take any one object you want and improve it. But you please somewhere, you can list on the back, another piece of paper, all the ideas, but you can draw them on. If you want to draw separately and then bring to your team, it's okay. You can do it any way you want to do it. Your team structure can be any way you like. But the idea is we're going to take 10 minutes and then we're going to share and see how many fluency, how many ideas we have, then how many unique ideas, original ideas, and let's look for elaboration also. And the method we use, we withhold judgment. We don't say, oh, that's a terrible idea, that's a great idea. You just put the idea down, and then when we get to deductive reasoning, with the funnel, we get to this part, then you can decide what you want to do. And the one, or you can have one, or you can have many if you want. You can have it the other way. You can have it be the other funnel, and just go with tons of ideas. That's okay too. However your team wants to do it. Does that sound okay, doable? We can do it? Okay, it's time pressure though, only 10 minutes, not a lot of time. So your team has to organize, has to get something done. Here's the paper. Well, these are suggested objects. But you know, if you want to improve the jet plane or you want to improve the computer, you go right ahead. Okay, any questions? 3 teams. So 3 people on each, one extra. Okay, any questions? Ready, set, go. Here's the paper. Plenty of markers. Good luck. Somebody, okay. Which team would like to present first? Which team would like to kick the ball off, start everything off, and show us the way to go? Look at, here she comes right now. This team is ready to go. Oh, I thought you were going, no, she's not. I thought you were going. Oh. Are you first? Yeah, if you want to come up here, you can put it on the board, right over the tools. Yeah, this is fantastic. Your whole team can come up if you like. Sometimes we have to song and dance, you know, you don't want to be alone. Yeah, here's some more text here. Here we go. All right, as you like it. It's fun, yeah. Huh? Very good, Hilda. All right. Okay, if you want to get closer to see the astounding ideas, go right ahead. Okay, this team, your team doesn't have a name, does it? No, like the Hawks or something? No, okay. All right, you're improving the cup, yes?
So we chose the cup, yeah? We use it as part of a lantern urn to climb up to that makes it bigger, to stand on it. A music instrument, a drum, we need just kind of just to make a mosaic from it.
They understand.
That's a kind of, yeah.
Oh, yes.
To put a dice, where you just play some with dices, just put the dices in it and you rattle and you can play poker. To put out the camels as a boat, as a vase, as a measuring jug, like something like this. And this trophy. I haven't been on the phone for a long time. To get rid of yes, a shovel.
Oh.
Depending on the material, just to shorten it with a hammer, something like this. We use it as a for jewelry. Then it's a multi-kitchen utensil. We drill holes in the bottom and we supply it with some extra round thing, so we can close the
bottom,
the holes. So we can use it as something to get out flour from something like this, and we can use it as a sieve. And the other idea was that when we take this kind of lid on the top, we can press something through. So you can put in berries and then just to bring the juice. So it's a multi-kitchen instrument.
Nice.
And it's an anti-aggression utensil. So if you're aggressive, you can just do something. Or just point on the other side of the road and said, well, we need something completely new. It is an instrument for reflection, so it would give you a new perspective to think of things. Just think, well, what would the mug or the cup think would be the most perspective. And there's a kind of bringing back memories. So this is more the teacher side.
Yes.
And that was in the last 2 minutes. We could adjust kind of chain, and we can just use it for collecting things, collecting money, to collect coffee money, and even handicapped people could use it, and because you don't need hands to hold it, you can just do it randomly. My dear team, I hope I haven't forgotten something.
Oh, it's good? Oh.
Oh no, I forgot something. We call it something jail for animals.
Oh.
So we put lice, spiders, wasps, whatsoever, and we can use it as a kind of machine for feeding birds and chasing them away. Because of the wrapper, and we can put in some corn and feed birds. I think that was it.
Amazing. All right. This is amazing. You know, I mean, who would, I couldn't believe, it's amazing. But, you know, I love that I could see you using the tools we've already picked up, and some of your own tools, I'm sure. But the fact that you show these to children or to people you're working with, and they start to incorporate them in everything they do, you do it again and again, and soon they feel like there's nothing they can't tackle. There's nothing they can't achieve. Fantastic. Okay, we have another group. Who's the second group? Who's going to go next? You guys were laughing a whole lot. Maybe you want to tell us what you're laughing about so much. What's so much fun? Here we go. Go, Gabby. How's the bibs? Yeah. Wonderful, wonderful. Oh, I need one more. Yeah, anyone. Take anyone. It's okay. Yeah. Voila.
We decided to take classes.
Oh my gosh.
Please help me if I forget things. We had the idea to use the glasses as a push-up bra, as a new push-up with the hands up here.
My, those are big glasses you have, Grandma. My, Grandma, what big glasses you have.
The total relaxed glasses, not the total recall, but the total relaxed.
Total relaxed glasses?
You have big glasses, really big glasses, and when you get them on your head, you're just hanging there like as if you were sleeping. Yeah? So you could people on a coat hanger with these glasses on and just put them in the wardrobe and then they are relaxed. That's for the future. You know? Then we had the wakeboard sort of glasses for the not so, for the clumsy ones, you know. They need a handle on this, the wakeboards are like skateboards.
yeah.
These where they go like this and then you have the handles to make sure that they don't fall down. Then you could plant, you could put out the glasses, put them away and put some kinds of sort of cups inside. And then you can grow plants and use the handles as a shower function. Then we had, what was this, the Sparbrille. Help me with that. Yeah, you put an energy lamp.
Oh, yeah.
Glasses.
Oh, yeah.
Low energy.
Low energy.
For the light in the room.
Oh, yeah.
This is like a lamp. Okay?
Oh.
Then we have what was this? Oh yeah, we all know children like the ADHS children, the very, very
Yeah,
active
hyperactive.
children,
Yeah,
they
hyper.
need glasses, they can need them for everything. They can just eat them, they can throw them, they can sit on them, they can do everything in all forms and with all kind of material. Yeah, we can use it as a Brennglas. I don't know what this is in English. To make fire in the wood.
Oh, yes.
With very strong glasses
Yeah.
so that the sun
rays, yeah.
rays can. This is like an emergency set for people who live in the wood. Or, yeah. You could create spoons in form of glasses because we found out that we all use glasses sometimes for.
Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, put them
Then we had the mode accessoires. We had the glasses for all kinds of keeping your hair back, and you just don't use them as glasses anymore. And you can just
Style.
put them here to
Fashion.
make yourself more
Fashion.
attractive.
Fashion.
What was that? We had the Transbrille. What is?
You put somebody in house.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
in the Jungle Book, the snake.
The hypnotist glasses. Hypnotizers.
Hypnotized, yeah. And then we had the anti-baby pill glasses, sort of. We want to make sure we
Yeah, you want to know?
make a big pair of glasses. Then you can be sure that they never come together. That's it.
All right.
Anti-Angstbrille. We had for all kind of people who are worried of things all the time. If you have glasses with a nice smell, and, just gives you good feeling so that you don't have fear anymore.
Aromatherapy. Yeah, aromatherapy glasses. Yeah.
The glasses will give you a signal when somebody is looking at you.
Oh ja.
Oh, I like that.
Wenn jemand einen Blick auf dich wirft, ja? So that you have glasses that they tell you that somebody is aware of you and you don't realize. So the glasses gives you a signal, hey, somebody's looking at you, so that you don't miss it.
Oh man, this is bravo. Are you taking orders? I want to order some now. Thank you very much. This is incredible. You know, now we know why they were laughing so much. The beautiful thing is, and when you do it with your children, your students, they don't have to work. The ideas don't have to work. The fact that they went through this process is the thing that's the result. That they practice going through the process of discovery repeatedly and refine. That's the secret. So this is just extra. This is just a bit of maybe $1 million product, I don't know, but this is just extra.
I forgot something very important. Eating glasses for the toilets. Because we all know the feeling when you get older and then you sit at the toilet seat.
Yes.
And you use your glasses and you can't read.
Yeah.
So they are sort of integrated into the
I had to stand on my head to use them. This is brilliant. Okay, we have some more, I think. The shoe people, yes. Please come, we can't wait. We must see it. Here you are. Yeah.
Thank you. Just in the middle.
If you like.
Because we have
Oh, in
to
the middle?
turn it around.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. As you like. Oops.
enough.
Maybe two. Maybe I have another one. I have one more also.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
You do it?
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Should we start out with shoes that are already existing, but they're funky? These shoes where you can separate your toes.
Shoes, yeah.
And the shoes that you can use to drink the champagne out of.
Just champagne shoes.
The flower shoe, which exists in some Austrian gardens. And there is okay.
And the mirror shoe?
The mirror shoe. The students who want to cheat, you know. A shoe that has a light installed. A shoe where you can jump.
Yes, the shoe you always can jump like
Spring.
But also a shoe that has a weapon included.
Wow.
as needles or knives.
Oh, yeah. The kung fu movies, yeah. James Bond.
A shoe with a pocket where you can put in some things you need.
A cell phone or money or whatever. Then we would love to have shoes that have a heating or cooling device built in. And one that can be used as multifunctional shoe that is like
For sports.
cross-country skiing and skating and running, jogging.
Wow.
And the same shoe should be in the evening a high heel shoe. So it should change rapidly. If you go to the cinema, for instance, or to the theater in the evening, then it should change because you need so many shoes all day long. So it should be practical.
Yeah, that's great.
The shoe as a musical instrument already exists as well. This is a shoe you use for stepping. That's also Then we would love to have the chameleon shoe that changes the color. Just in the morning you put on the same pair of shoes that you're comfy with and you press a button and you say, oh, today they're green.
Interesting.
Chameleon shoe.
Chameleon shoe, yeah, chameleon shoe.
A shoe, it does exist as a shoe that you can use for cleaning the house. You just skate around the house.
Well, but we recognize that it already exists, so we needed a shoe which does it for itself. So not somebody has to
Be in it.
to go with it. It should go itself.
Automatic shoes.
Automatic shoes.
Yeah. Small so that it gets in every corner.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
You have to install a device that counts your steps or also the kilometers, miles. So you know which distance you're walking every day.
Oh, wow, look at this. Fancy.
Yeah. The elastic, chic, comfortable high heel.
We would love to invent that.
Sustainable shoe.
Yeah, sustainable. Very. We want to go back, not necessarily leather because it's already
sustainable.
Nachhaltiger Schuhe. Out of made paper or fixed paper or something like that, which fixes the shoe for a year or so, and after a year it falls.
You can't just flush it.
Wow. Throwaway shoes.
No, I think that's it.
Yes, that's it.
All right. All right. These remind me so much of professional fashion design advertising meetings, and we have this model, and we have this, will you buy it, that kind of thing. Looks like a professional meeting. Well, thank you. That's a bit of fun and some interesting ideas too, I think. So we have time enough for the last piece, and this is the piece that you can extend if you wish. You can go on further, but you get the gist of it before you leave. This has been great because we have done what we said we were going to do, I think. We took, first, we looked at ourselves, And then we began to look at our practice itself. And of course, I did my practice in there too. We didn't quite get to do the why do you teach and how do you teach and why do you teach that way, and also the best lesson you ever saw. Those are two extended pieces we do usually in the longer workshop that really brings out a wealth of good information. Because if we ask you what is the best teaching or best learning you've ever seen, we put them up and then we look at why they are. Why do you think they're so successful? And those reasons become the basis for building our next piece. The next piece is the best unit you've ever done in your life. So that's how that would work. So what we have, I hate to move this fancy design. Can I have this? No, I give them back. No, but I'll take some pictures later. Okay. Wow, this is amazing. You guys really, thank you, this is fun. This one down too. Okay. Very good, we must have them, very good. Now, this part, and if you can't see, I apologize, you can move to wherever you need to. This is a structure that we use in the master classes, and this is kind of the top of the mountain. This is the mountaintop piece. Everything we've done comes to this. And this is just a framework, a suggested framework. You can do anything you like. Just a suggested framework to begin to build your best curriculum ever. We challenge the people in the master class to leave the room with this complete, and it would be the absolute best piece of curriculum design they have ever done and may ever do. We have hours to work on it. You're working with other intelligent people who are creative, so you come up with something that's fantastic. But here's the structure, and we can start to work on yours today. This is just suggested. We start with this wheel, and here's a subject or topic. You can put it in here, you can put it out here, inside, anywhere you want. The idea is, what are you going to be studying? First, what is it we're looking at? What are we trying to do? You can have multiple things here, interdisciplinary if you like. Doesn't have to be just one thing. So we start with that. Then we have to look at what are our hard limits. What can we not move or change? Our room is only a certain size. We have only so many hours in the day, or so many hours and minutes in our class. We have only a semester. We have the chairs are fixed to the floor. We can't move them. The principal demands this, or the head demands that. Those are hard limits we cannot change. So that actually, hard limits help us. We have an artist back there, Juan. And Juan, you know, he has thousands of materials to choose from, thousands of colors, millions of colors. But do you use every color all the time when you make? No. He has to set limits, and sometimes I think the limits are very small. Yeah, is it very, and actually, I've found if you make the limits very, very narrow, sometimes it makes you think deeper and do better work. If you have too many choices, it's very difficult sometimes. So actually, hard limits can be a benefit rather than a minus. Okay, and then you think of what you want to do. You would start thinking of who is in the room, the passion and interest of the people involved. If you could, passion, the desire. If you have 8th grade skateboarders, they only are interested in skateboarding. They won't do anything else, only skateboarding. So you say, very good. I'd like to teach you physics, but I know you love skateboarding, so let's see if we can build a skateboard park using physics that's the best skateboard park ever. You have their interest. It's going to be our park? We're going to build it? We can design it? Yeah, but you have to understand inclined plane. What's that? Okay, how about the tubular structure? What's that? We can use that, make a good park? Yes. So you capture and use the passion for whatever. You can't use every passion, of course, you know, but you find some strong interest in the class. In the World Peace Game, they liked games in 1970. They were mad about board games. So I said, well, I'd better make some curriculum that is a game. And of course, they fell in love as soon as they saw I was respecting them, respecting their interest and their wish. He's doing what we want to do, they thought. And so it became their game, they felt. But really, it was a trick, you see. It just follows their passion. So you find out what that is, and that will be the fuel that drives everything. That will be the thing that makes it work. You know, when you get to a hard place and it's too difficult, this carries you through. Other things may not, but that will carry you through because they want to. And then you can look at what concepts are necessary in this lesson. What must I have them understand? What must they know? What must they completely grasp before they leave? Jay McTighe calls this the essential understanding. What essential understanding, what big idea must they get before they leave this lesson? You determine it before you even start the lesson. And here's another one. Demonstration of understanding, the DOU, essentially it's your assessment. And it says here, products. On my classroom we have a chart, a list of 300 products, 300 ways that you can choose one to show what you know. Show what you know. Do you want to do a poem to show what you know in this unit? Do you want to do a lecture? Do you want to do a report? Do you want to build a sculpture? Do you want to do some art? Do you want to have a debate? Do you want to form a club? Do you want to do a letter to the president? What is the best product to show what you know at the end of the unit? This is how you assess the understanding. The product will be a beautiful thing. So that product, the demonstration of understanding, you can assess it using that assessment tool we have, the self-evident assessment tool, or any assessment tool. The idea is that they can show they understand, not just say they understand, or pass a test. You pass a test, you still might not understand. This is a demonstration, you have to know it. What? A demonstration of understanding. Oh, assessment. That's your actual assessment. In between the two. That's a line? Oh. D-O-O-U? Yeah, D-O-U slash.
What does that mean?
The slash? Oh, I wrote DOU, demonstration of understanding, yeah. No, I'm putting it, I'm making it, you have to work hard with me, so it's okay. And then you want to say, what skills must they know? What skills must they have? What skills must they need? So you can have before the lesson, what skills are necessary? And after, what skills will they have? You can do a pre-post, we call it pre-post. What before, what after? Pre-post. So you can divide it any way you need to. Then you're going to say, what materials do we need? Do we need the internet? Maybe we don't. Do we need technology? Maybe we don't. If we do, maybe we need a certain website or 2 or 3. Maybe we need flowers. Maybe we need a lot of shoes to experiment with, cut up and make into things. Whatever the resource and material. And the lovely thing is, the students can help you make this. You can say to them, help me make this lesson so you can be happy with it too. They'll get so excited. We need this. I got it at home. I'll bring it in. And this is my passion. That's what I want to do. You are empowering them by offering them ownership of their own learning vehicle. And for a student to be given that by a trusted, respected teacher is just an amazing experience. You imagine how you'd feel if your toughest teacher said, can you help me make the lesson for you? How you would feel that way if that happened. So also we put the mode. You can offer this to them, multiple intelligences basically. How should you express this unit? Do you dance it? Is it all going to be written and literary? Are you going to do interpersonal and talk to each other? Or are you going to do an internal dialogue and just do journal reflections? Are we going to be visual spatial? Are we going to be mathematical, musical? What's going to be the main? And you can allow multiple. They can have several, depending on who's in the room. And I just left an extra space for anything else you might want. But you start just developing these things, and then you start building your unit right here. You can build it together with somebody in the same discipline, or cross disciplines, or even cross grade, which is interesting. Cross grade is amazing because you get the basic level at kindergarten, and you see how it develops as it goes through the years, too. We call it spiraling. They run into the same concept again and again at more sophisticated levels as they advance. So that's just a concept framework. We call a meta, M-E-T-A framework for developing a lesson. I mean, there are many ways to do it. This is just the way we came up with, I thought of. But what I would challenge you to do today in about 20 minutes is, and you can do it longer, is to try and develop the best piece of curriculum, material, idea, tool for your population, for who you're going to face when you go back, using this framework. What is the best thing you can develop for them today in the room? You have a lot of other experts who can help you. You can walk around and see what they're doing or ask them for advice. You can share, and we're just brainstorming. We're using our toolkit, the one we've already put together today, to develop this ultimate piece to take home with you. Is that making sense? Okay? Okay. And if you're tired, you can just go home. Okay. You are working with teaching teachers, yes?
No, students, students.
Who are going to be social workers and, okay. So you want something that can help them become that thing. So, what is a topic that you would teach them? What would you teach? Something specific.
Migration and refugees.
Migration?
Migration and refugees.
Refugees, yes. Okay. Not only are you going to give them information, which they can find on the internet without us, you want to help them think of how to deal with that subject in the best way, to make the best out of it. So it's not just information. So we have the topic migration, refugees. Okay, the students, who are your students and what are they interested in outside of that topic? Who are they and what do they want? You may not know all now, but find out. Some of them love music. Music tied to migration and refugees. There's some connection there that can be created. I don't know if it's a data bank of music from different ethnic groups that are in refugee camps that you archive and present to them as a tool they can use for cultural appreciation and enrichment, something like that. But there's some connection, whatever the passion is. What do you want them, what must they know about migration and refugees? What concept? Not information, but what understandings must they have? You'll figure out what those are. Then you see, how much time do you have? How many students do you have? How much money do you have to spend on them? Whatever those limits are, you put. What materials do you have? Is it only the internet research? Can you do field work? Are there refugees right here at hand we can talk to, interview, ethnographic studies? Where can we get material and resource and information? What skills do these students have to have? Do they just walk in and say, okay, tell me your name, give me your information? Or is it much more subtle than that? Maybe only you know that. Maybe you're the only one who can tell them this part because everything else they can find somewhere else. So then you do that. Then we're going to say, how do they like to work? My students need to get up and go into the field. My students are researchers. They like to spend time in the library. My students like to have a big meal and talk over their findings over a big dinner they cook together. Whatever their mode is, you incorporate that. It doesn't have to be 100% of the time. Just make sure you account for the best way they learn. And then, how are you going to know that they have acquired these other things under their subject? How will they show you that they know? Just a test? You give them a test, you pass the test, but they may be horrible social workers. How will you know? So you develop some way, they must show you, they must go in to show you an interview. Live, you must watch and see how it happens. They must process someone through the process and help them actually get settled, and then you can see if it works. Or migration patterns, they must come up with a theory that helps people migrate differently than has ever been done. Maybe your whole class has to work on that project, you get a doctoral thesis, they get a Nobel Peace Prize, who knows. But the thing is, they're going to do something to show they really understand. Is that making it a little better, a little clearer? Yes, please.
While I just think about my lesson. But who is going to take a decision? Who is going to say, well, for demonstration of understanding, I use this and that? Is it the teacher or is it the pupil or the student himself?
What do you think is best for your classroom? You think that's best? Then that's what you should do. You're the only one who can really know. This is the power of a teacher. You are the only one who really knows in that classroom. The principal, the head can't know because they don't spend the time you spend. The students don't have the knowledge and information and experience you have. It's up to you, and you may not be 100% correct or sure. That's the risk we take. But you are the only one who can really make the best decision.
This would also allow that within the class, there will be 2 or 3 who would decide for themselves.
Wow.
And there would be about 10 I would help to draw their own decisions.
Okay.
And there would be another, let's say 5
Wonderful. We call that differentiated learning. But the 3 who do it themselves, that's independent study.
Yeah, well, this is how they
Oh,
different
is it?
levels of
Yes. But I think you can use that difference.
But considering this, I would also have to have different concepts.
I see what you mean.
I would have different partners. I would have different skills I have to offer.
Yes.
Then I'm in a
Multi-level, multi-layered.
river.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what is extreme stress for teachers to meet all those needs.
I see.
May I say something?
Yes.
In my opinion, this is what school always does wrong, that it makes pressure. Because there is no pressure if you take the time for it and if you give the resources for it. And if you leave things happen sometimes. But school teaching always means that you have to be very strict with everything. Yeah? You're not really. Because if they're not finished, maybe they finish next hour. Maybe you give them a chance to do that in the next time when you're in class. It's just different thinking.
I want to sharpen it. I want to sharpen it to limits almost, just to discuss whether I then need different concepts and different skills and different.
I see, yes.
It's very important as that must be a class experience. Not one group.
Right, a whole class.
Was the same level and a very homogeneous group.
Right,
Now think of heterogeneous groups.
right. Mix, everything is there. One approach we've used is, and this is the World Peace Game as a model. I spent a lot of time on the front end preparing, meaning the summer vacation, designing and trimming and tweaking and building that. It takes so much time, you're right. And build in multiple layers and so forth. And then once they come in, they're still at different levels. So what we try to do is build a resource bank of products. There are 300 products on this list. A resource bank of resources. There's 150 different places you can go to find information. And then a skill list, actually recognizing ambiguities, determining irrelevancies, looking for bias, all this, and there's almost like a checklist list. So these 3 charts are up in the classroom. And whenever we do something, the students will have a conference with me. What skills do you need for this? Here's what I think. What do you think? Check them off. This is your to-do list. This is a list you're going to use. What product can you pull from this list to show us what you're going to do? All right, that's the product you're going to try. Have a backup product in mind too. Then we go to the resources. Where will you find the information you need? Check. You put together kind of a menu, really, or a recipe, I should say. And with that map, then they come with more control or more authority in the unit, because you have to do all that for them by yourselves. That's an immense amount of work. This is bringing them in as a collaborator, and then they feel because they feel some ownership, they feel like they want to more than if you just told them to do it. I think that's maybe one approach, because I recognize the difficulty. You have everything going on once, and everybody's at different levels, and you're expected to bring them all to here. It's almost impossible. Yeah, that's a tremendous stress. You know, so we try to make archive banks that the students can handle and use themselves to assist me in directing the classroom and developing the units. I really do bring them in as co-designers of my units, because it's going to be for them. And if they have ownership, they have more incentive to work. You know, if they feel like, well, I helped make it, you know. And so that's just a little help. I don't know if it helps a lot, but maybe a little idea. And everybody else may have other ideas too, you know. But I do see what you mean. Yeah, Rob, please.
Also ich glaube, das ist ein Paradigmenwechsel. Wer hat die Verantwortung wofür? Und ich glaube, ich habe die Verantwortung dafür, dass die Kinder und Jugendliche was lernen. Dann bleibt dieser Stress.
It's a change of where the stress is according to where you think the responsibility lies for learning. If you as a teacher think that responsibility is yours and you learn, then it becomes stress.
Well, how can you not, though? Yeah. Yeah.
Wofür würdest du sagen, hast du als Lehrer bekommen? Was würdest du jetzt sagen?
Ja, die bestmöglichen Voraussetzungen zu schaffen, dass die Ideen, die Themen, das was interessiert, passieren kann in den Kindern und Studenten.
There was an administrator I had who helped me. I was burning out, you know, just trying to do everything and doing everything 40% because I couldn't do 100% anywhere, and I was failing as a teacher. And this administrator said to me, John, your problem is you prioritize everything equal value. It's horizontal. It's like everything is of equal value. There's no high or low. He said, I want you, and he changed me. He said, I want you to change your priority list like this. This is number 1. Number 2. Number 10 will drop off for a while. Or number 10 eventually moves up to number 9 when you finish number 1. But it was hard for me to see in my life, I have to do 9 and 10 now, is what I would always say. He's saying, it's impossible, he said. You have to understand life and nature can't work that way. You cannot be perfect simultaneously in everything in everyone's life. So I had to learn the hard way I cannot do everything all at once. I may be able to do everything over time. So I had to take the long view. One student, teacher friend of mine, young woman, she'd been teaching 2 years just out of university. She was at the poorest county in Virginia. It's called Warren County. And she was in her school. Everyone was conservative, reactionary, no change, no progress. We changed nothing. The old way is perfect, you know. And she was so frustrated. She was a young, idealistic, full of fire. I'm going to help change the world. And she could get nowhere. They would reject everything she suggested, even good ideas. So we were talking, and she said, I'm so disgusted, I'm going to quit teaching. I'm going to stop being a teacher. There's no point in banging my head against this wall. And she thought for a while, she said, how long have you been teaching? She said to me. I said, well, 30 years. And she stopped for a while, she said, you know what I'm going to do? I really love teaching. I'm going to outlast them. I'm going to wait until they die off, retire, move away, transfer. I'll take care of my health, but I can't make any headway, so I have to take the long view. 30 years, I've got 28 more years to wait. In the meantime, I'm going to do as much as I can good. That was her I mean, it's not for everybody. But taking the long view helped me because I was trying to do everything in a week before and I couldn't do it. Yeah, you have to take care of yourself because you have such dedication. You'll try to save everybody and lose yourself.
The problem is that you don't only have the thoughts in your mind, what makes you feel I'm a good teacher, or I'm not, what do I do wrong, all the things you have to fight with yourself, but then comes the school system and then comes the parents and they all give you the feeling that you are not good enough if the children don't learn what they have to learn. And you forget to get everyone's share into the right direction. You know?
Oh, the saving grace for me is meetings like this, you know, because nobody else understands really. The parents say, why aren't you doing it? The children say, give me more. The administrator says, you're not enough. And nobody really understands but colleagues of yours like this. They know. You all know what you're saying to each other. And so this kind of support, if nowhere else, at least you have it here, that kind of thing.
But this security you don't learn at the teachers training college. You don't get enough strength for that. Because you get this feeling right from the start that you don't do enough and it's not enough.
Or what I often experience, you get the group pressure from the team.
You get what?
The group pressure from the team.
Oh, yeah.
You don't do this, I'm going to do that.
Oh, wow.
Why don't we do that? Or I have to do this because you haven't done that. So it's because they say we've all got to do it. There is no priority, it's all important.
I think that sometimes there is also a little tendency to pretend in front of each other that we are more perfect than we are, and not confess what doesn't work and why we look for support of colleagues, which can only work if everyone is honest enough to say, well, I'm not that genius I dream of being. And usually these meetings are not as fruitful as they could be because people aren't as honest as they can be. So the exchange is not fruitful. It is easy in settings like this when nobody works in the same school, but in the same school, then there's many times in the university department, and there's this competition where, oh, when I confess I don't have that so well, I don't know where to get help, get along with that, the others may think I'm not smart enough to do that job. And this competition factor, I think, is always something that makes things more difficult than necessary, makes reflection processes feel very difficult. Exactly where it should take place among your colleagues who work under the same conditions. Because the exchange, like here, is nice for them working in the same school, and everyone's got totally different situations to get along with. But in the same place, like you're doing it with your colleagues, that makes most sense, but therefore we need to be honest.
Therefore, we need to have supervision in school.
That's the key.
Which is offered. Yeah?
Yeah.
Not for schools, for teams, only for teams.
Well, this, I think,
You can order.
what you say, Gabby, well, I think what Gabby said is so true. And for me, in my career, if the head or this principal is honest and trusting and cares about you and you have that kind of relationship, it sets the tone so that I can not be afraid to be honest and truthful about reality. It's actually the fact, but I can try to hide. And my principal was so good to me, I could build the world peace game knowing that it's going to fail every time. At the beginning, it fails every time. Knowing that I'm going to be exposed for not knowing how to fix it, because I don't know how to. The students have to do with my guidance. So I'm allowed to be as honest as I want to be, as honest as it is, because of that trusting support of visionary leaders and trusting leadership. And sometimes I think I've resigned from different positions 5 times in my 38-year career. Not for hard feelings, just it's not the situation for you. Like you, Hildegard, new situation, you left the old situation behind. It was not the situation for you. You had to have courage and to make a change, difficult as it may have been. Sometimes where you are, it's just too difficult to make that evolution for yourself. You want to be, but it's not allowed. So you have to go. And that's another option also sometimes.
But when you say it's not allowed, very often you don't allow it yourself. So this is another barrier. So you just say it's not allowed. Very often it's camouflaging. So something like, I didn't allow it for myself.
She's so right. So yeah, we do this to ourselves. But the first thing we did today, that is the beginning to scrape away those layers, in front of other people who know you. If you do it with your team, we know, hey, that's not right, what are you talking about? So you can actually start to, if a team could do things like that repeatedly, who is it that goes away every, I think it's Suzanne, they go.
I wanted to say exactly the same at that first weekend meeting, where we sat around and we started with that question, who are we and why are we teaching? And it was so touching to really know things about the person. What was the reason why did you become a teacher? That's really was very touching. And then of course, you can be so honest. That was just
There's another answer, yeah.
How many are in your team? 6? 6?
Wow.
Only 6.
recently I've been to a group of primary school, about 18 colleagues. They wanted to do something like to reduce the speeds of school. Yeah. And I just wanted to start with team because they were just very young colleagues and older colleagues. This is not a topic we want to work on. But in the end, we ended up with team, with honesty, to speak about our fears, our mistakes.
Really?
And so the mistakes made us lovable. And in the end of the 3 hours, they ended up we were just okay. Now I can talk because now I know the team. And that makes things easier. And this takes speed out of everything.
Wonderful.
Trusting other people. This is all about trusting other people and allowing yourself to be trusted.
Wow, that's amazing.
This is the active and passive part.
Well, I think teachers should get an award for using supervision. They should get some sort of beloning system if you do. This is good for you, and we all know that this is good for teaching, so you should get this.
It's healthy and it's good for the profession.
Yeah. And now in some districts, of course, some of the heads will say, where's the outcome if I'm going to pay for this? Show me some product, and it's internal. You can't really, And who is it said over here, that Ingrid maybe or Gabby, about if we could have young teachers have this kind of experience early on, before, if they could hear from you how you deal with this, they might stay in the profession. They might not leave, if they could know that there's a way to manage and to be successfully under that pressure. Yeah. So maybe we have more responsibility we're doing it for ourselves. Maybe if we can get some of the new guys in, take them on these retreats too with us or something, just so they can know there's more to it than just the grinding,
I think many teachers are in fear of supervision.
Yeah.
To tell other colleagues that I have made mistakes is not allowed. Teacher haven't made mistakes.
Yeah.
Mistakes is not all about mistakes, it's about how you handle your job, how you handle your patients, how you take care of yourself. Teachers are not allowed to take care of themselves.
Yeah.
24 hours a day, that's it.
The hero is always human, even though they're a hero. You're still a human, even though you're a hero. Well, perhaps we should allow it to come to a close at this point. I mean, we can talk more about this for a long time, I'm sure. Yeah, we can go on. But in respect of your time, too, I can't thank you enough for doing this. I cannot tell you how much this rejuvenates me, because I have to go from city to city and to be with people, sincere professionals like you, who really want to make a difference and do something, who have so much to offer. This is just a great thing for me. So thank you so much. Good luck to you all, and I hope I come back to see you again sometime, because I'd love to do more, and you can go do this too, whatever. But we have work to do, and we're equipped to do it. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Taking time for me, thank you. All right. Okay, now I don't want to see these on eBay, okay? don't want to see these on eBay.